Hey guys, my name is Ben. Thanks for having me. Today I want to tell you a story about how my friends and I started this project about a bucket list, and it changed our lives. We're going to start from the beginning. So this is my friends and I in college. We grew up in Victoria, BC, and yeah, you heard it. Big fan. And you know, we were going through what I think a lot of people go through in college. You know, we were confused. We didn't know what we wanted to do. And we kind of felt this void. And we started talking about something we could do to deal with it, right? We wanted to do something meaningful. We wanted to do something fun. And all we knew is we had all these things we wanted to do, and we weren't doing them. Serendipitously, at the same time, my friend Johnny was in English class, first-year university at McGill. And he got assigned this poem called The Buried Life. And there were 4 lines in this poem that he brought back to us that I want to share with you. But often in the world's most crowded streets, but often in the din of strife, there rises an unspeakable desire after the knowledge of our buried life. And he was like, guys, this poem is articulating the same thing that we can't articulate. It's saying that we have these things we want to do in our life, but we don't do them because of school, work, the day-to-day, and they're buried. And he's like, then this guy was 50 years old in 1850 in London. And he felt the same way. So clearly this is not the first time that anyone's ever felt like this. And so at that moment, we took this name, The Buried Life, and decided to call it, we decided to call this project The Buried Life, even though we didn't know what it was. So then we decided to ask ourselves the question, what do you want to do before you die? And made this list of 100 things to do before you die. And we just kind of pretended that we could do anything. We put things on like go to space, like cover of Rolling Stone, kiss the Queen, like anything we'd ever really wanted to do. Well, I don't know about that one. And we just pretended that we could. I mean, literally, we put stuff down as a joke. And then we decided, okay, for everything we do on our list, we're going to help someone that we meet do something that they want to do. So we took 2 weeks off work before we went back to school, and we bought an RV, we made matching t-shirts, we got a camera on eBay, and we're like, we're going to go after this list, and we're going to help people. And the first thing we crossed off was to be a knight for a day. Okay, so I got like in full knight's armor and went downtown. I immediately regretted it. And I noticed that there was this little kid with a plastic sword. And he let go of his mom's hand, and he didn't say a word. His eyes just went wide, and he walked over to me, and he just went like this and bowed his head. So as knights do, I knighted him, right? And all these kids started coming around. I knighted all these kids. And a photographer was there, and the next day, unbeknownst to us, we crossed off the second thing on the list, which was make the front page of the newspaper. Didn't get matched up with the best headline, but you know, nothing you can do about that. So the first person we helped was a guy named Brent. Okay, Brent is 24 years old. He'd started a business. His business was relying on his truck, and his truck had broken down. When we talked with Brent, what we realized is that he had spent a third of his life in a homeless shelter. So we're like, man, if we're telling people anything's possible, like we got to get this dude a truck. So we went down to a used car lot, and we told the guy Brent's story, and we said, man, we have $500 together. That's all we have. What can we get? And he gave us a $2,500 truck for $500, and we surprised Brent with it and gave it to him. And this is the first time we'd ever really helped anybody, you know, and that feeling, that day stuck with us, and we started to feel this void sort of fill up. And from there, we started getting these emails. People were like, hey, I saw your list online. Like, you want to ride a bull? My friend has a bull ranch. You can come ride a bull. Or like, one of the things on our list was to make a toast at a stranger's wedding. Literally got invited to 12 weddings in 2 weeks. And then people being like, hey, my dream is to fly an F-18 fighter jet. Like, can you help me? Or like, I've always wanted to sing a duet with Michael Bublé. We're like, okay, who's Michael Bublé? All right. So, so that was 9 years ago. And that 2-week road trip has basically evolved into a way of life. You know, we've been able to cross off a lot of list items. We've been able to help a lot of people. And, you know, sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail. But when we succeed, we've noticed some patterns, some things that happen again and again. And we start to do the same things over and over again from start to finish to accomplish something. And people ask us, like, I've got something on my list. How do we cross it off? And so these are the things that we do. I want to share them with you in case they might be able to help. The first thing is what's important. Think about what's important to you. Not what your parents think, not what your teachers think, not what society thinks is important, but like listen to your gut and your heart and think about what it is you want to do. If it scares you, that's good. If people say you're crazy, that's even better. But you have to like stop and think about it. There's a great quote from Ferris Bueller. It's, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. The second thing is write your list down. I'll tell you a quick story. 2008, Obama had just got elected. Johnny, my friend, calls me and he's like super excited. He's like, Benny, let's play basketball with Obama on the list. I'm like, Johnny, you're calling me from your friend's laundry room that you live in. Like you are literally spending $200 a month so that you can have a bed between a washer and a dryer, and you want to play basketball with the president. Like we're in Canada. We're not even in that country. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, all right, man. So we wrote it down. And in a funny way, that was the first step, writing it down. You know, over the next 3 years, we basically made a bunch of trips to DC. We hustled, essentially campaigned to play basketball with the president. And we found ourselves in the White House courts playing ball with Obama. So there's this funny thing that happens when you take something that's an idea or a dream and you write it down. Okay, it goes from something that's intangible and it makes it tangible. You're making it real. Okay, we have this sort of saying, there's a difference between a dream and a project. A dream has a funny way of staying a dream, but a project, you can see the tangible steps to getting it done, and writing it down, it may seem small, but that's the first step. The third thing is talk about your list. If you don't talk about it, no one's going to help you. Okay, when we help people, we don't come in with a bunch of money and like just give it to people to do things. We help people by other people helping us help other people. Let me give you an example. This is Tori. Tori was born without a right hand. She's from Ohio. She grew up, she plays basketball. She has a great group of friends, and her dream is to have a bionic arm. Bionic arms are very expensive. And her friends knew this, so they started this hashtag on Twitter called Hand for Tori. We saw this hashtag. We talked with Hanger Clinics, which makes the best bionic arms in the world, and they donated a bionic arm, and we surprised Tori with it. And we were there when Tori did things that you and I take for granted for the very first time. Curled her hair for the first time, and hugged her dad with 2 hands for the first time. Now, if you think about it, Tori talked about her dream, her friends talked about it, we talked about it, and it happened. If you don't talk about it, no one can help you, and you'd be surprised. People spring up and help in the most unexpected places. Be persistent. Another quick story. One of the things on our list was to crash the Playboy Mansion. Clearly. So we wanted to go to this party at the Playboy Mansion. There was no tickets, but we had to get in. So we thought the best thing for us to do is to build a giant prop cake, decorate it like the party, and hide my 2 friends in it and deliver it to the Playboy Mansion. And we found out what the theme of the party was. It was a Willy Wonka themed party. So we're like, okay, we'll dress up our friends like Oompa Loompas. And we'll paint their face, we'll give them wigs and everything. We'll literally hide them in the cake and deliver it. And everyone thought this was a stupid idea. Like, we were making a show for MTV at the time, because like one of the things on our list is to make a TV show. And MTV was like, no, you guys should not do this. And we're like, it's too late, we already bought the cake. So we delivered it, we rented a truck, we delivered it to the back door of the mansion at 6 p.m. the day of the party. My friend pretended to be like the guy that was driving the truck. He's like, I don't know what it is, it just says it's supposed to be here. Pushed it up with my friends in it, and like they didn't know where to put it, so it's just in the back of the driveway. They're in there for 6 hours. They have no idea where they are. They're peeing in bottles. Like, security's coming up being like, is this a joke? Are there people inside? They're like, 12 midnight, they jump out, they rush in. They think they maybe have a couple minutes in the party before they get kicked out. My friend runs right up on stage with Snoop Dogg. He's literally on stage and looking at the security waiting to get kicked out, but the security just kind of gives him the nod. And he realizes that because he's dressed like an Oompa Loompa, they think he's working the party. So they have free reign to do anything they want. End the night 5 hours later, doing a cannonball into the grotto while everyone's chanting oompa, oompa. The reason I tell that story is you're going to hear no a lot. I mean, you're going to hear it much more than you're going to hear yes. No doesn't always mean no. usually means not now. And I believe the simple truth that people fail just because they stop trying. This is my favorite photo from that night. Found this on a party blog the next day. That man has no business being in that party. Be audacious. So one of the things on our list, number 19, is to write a bestseller. We somehow convinced a publisher that it was a good idea to let us write a book. And we sat down with her, our editor, the first meeting, and we said, our goal is to write a #1 New York Times bestseller. And it was just silent. And she said, in the nicest way possible, that effectively the odds of us as first-time writers writing a #1 New York Times bestseller, let alone getting on the New York Times bestsellers list, was very, very low. So we didn't tell her that our co-author and my friend Dave failed English 11. Completely dyslexic, cannot spell. So we didn't feel like that would inspire confidence in our editor. But we worked our asses off, we put our heart and soul into that book, and it debuted #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. Now, thank you. 99% of the world is convinced they can't do great things, so they shoot for the middle. They shoot for realistic goals, which means that realistic goals are the most competitive place to be. Therefore, unrealistic goals are less competitive because no one's going for them. So, don't overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You're probably better than you think. The last thing is help others. Not just because it fuels you in a way that doing things for yourself doesn't, but because if you think about it, it actually helps you get things done. If you're out there in the world, and you can call it karma or you can call it common sense, but if you're out there doing good things and people see you, they're more likely to help you. There's this great quote from Into the Wild, the film. It's happiness is only real when it's shared. And we really believe that. And when I think back about the adventures of the past 9 years and the things that we've done, it's the things that we've done for other people that I know will stick with me until I die. So the thing I want to leave you guys with is, what do you want to do before you die? Thank you.